Hey, welcome everyone. My name is JR and I'm the founder and owner of Business Leaders Network, where our whole mission is to build a community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders. And one way we help other members and other business owners and other leaders out in the community to make a bigger impact is by helping them gain more visibility and sharing more about who they are, what they're doing, and how they're making an impact in the world. And so today we're here for another roundtable interview. And so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Well, to start out, I'm going to just go to Tim because you're on my upper left, and we're going to start with you for the first question. Why don't you share more about who you are, what you do, what inspired you to get started?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. My name is Timothy Dean Smith, and what I do is I coach first-time leaders because what happens is 60% of the time, first-time leaders fail, and it leaves a lingering effect financially and emotionally on an organization. Plus, I also help resolve their dysfunctional cultures, which are usually associated with that. Where I got started was way back when I was a little guy in high school. I actually coached Special Olympics team, a bowling team, and a track team. And I didn't realize it at the time, JR, but what they taught me was so powerful. And again, I was only about 16, 17 years old, so it didn't set in until a few years later. But it showed me how important people and relationships are. They throw the ball down the alley, could care less about the ball. Kick it, push it, throw it. Then he turn around and find me and high five me, hug me. So that really stuck with me, and it's true today. It's always going to be true. People are the most important, period. You treat people like they make a difference, and they will.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I live by the saying that you help more people get what they want, then you'll get what you want. And so the more that we give back to help others, that just always turns around. So
And where people can find me is tdspi.com. It's a one-stop shop, tdspi.com, and they're there. And then we'll go from there.
cool, love that. And we'll have another opportunity at the end of our show for you to be able to share more about details about where to go. Cool, Mr. Marcus. Why don't we share more about who you are, what you do, and what inspired you to get started, man?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Like we said before it started, we're basically in the same backyard. I got my start with business really with my entertainment company. I woke up, it's a funny story, I always tell it. Like I woke up one day in my 20s and was like, I want to get paid to party. I see DJs, I see promoters, and I was like, man, I know music really well. Let me dig into this, right? Quickly discovered being a promoter wasn't the easy part. Playing music was a whole lot easier than promoting. But, starting around the MySpace days, learning how to utilize social media and just automate things has always been one of my things. Like we all know as business owners, like especially in the stage before we scale, we need to automate as much as possible. And if we're not, we should be, right? That's the biggest thing. That's kind of how I ran into you, is in that space of, the funnels and the automations and all the things. We mingle in the same groups, even online, right? And my big thing is just helping business owners automate their business so they can live a little bit better, or they can focus on what they actually want to do, right? I worked with a lot of business owners over COVID, really teaching them how to automate their systems, get their CRM together, clean it up. And a lot of people don't even have CRMs, or they got them and they've never even touched them. So I would say my big focus these days is automating systems. I created a nonprofit, basically based around teaching people in the community here. I want to create more entrepreneurs and teach them digital media marketing and entrepreneurship. We're in a great time where we should have more entrepreneurs. So one of my sites, golocalproductions.com, you can find me over there. That kind of is the hub. But yeah.
Very cool. I love that.
Can I share one thing with what Marcus said real
Yeah,
quick?
go for it.
I'm big with taglines and catchphrases, but when he said, I want to get paid to party, you got to be able to use that someplace.
I mean, I still do it is the funny part. It's just as I got older, it just changed. The venue changed. Now I focus on the weddings and the corporate and the big things.
Gotcha.
Fun. Claustine, same question for you. And if I mispronounce your name, please correct me. But why don't you share more about who you are, what you do, what inspired you to get started doing what you do? The Purpose
Well,
Coach.
first of
the first.
Yes. And you said my name correctly. So
Oh,
kudos
nice.
to you. So I want to thank you, Jay, for inviting me to be here. And my story starts in jolly old England because that's where I was born and raised. And I always wanted to be a teacher. And I used to play with my dollies and teddy bears teaching. But then when I was almost 13, my parents moved to the United States. We moved to Boston. And in high school, I had to pick a track. I was almost 13 when I moved here. In high school, we had to pick a track, and I realized, teachers don't make a lot of money, so I'm going to do something else. So I was always good at math and science. So I said, easy choice. I'm going to go into engineering. So I went into engineering and I was an engineer for 8 years. But 2 years into it, I realized I really wasn't an engineer. I did not love it. I could see all my colleagues really were inspired with it and enjoyed it, and I did not. And so I prayed for 6 long years to find out what I was on this earth for. And I moved to North Carolina, and I was there for 2 years, and a year into it was told that I was going to be laid off. There was 117 of us that got laid off, and they had 4 different layoff dates, and I was the only one laid off on October the 27th, which is my birthday.
Oh,
I
Oh,
was
man.
like, happy
yeah,
birthday!
happy birthday.
But I had this huge peace that came over me, and I just knew something better was going to happen. And that was my launch into what I do now, which is to help faith-based women to identify what their purpose is, because I didn't know mine, and I help other people find theirs, and to renew your mind to success and then monetize it. So I always say I have the best job in the world. And if you want to find out more about me, you can just go to Claustine.com, my first name, Clastine.
Yeah, I love that you do that. We have so many people in our BLN Business Leaders Network community that are faith-based driven, and a lot of women and men and stuff like that. Not everyone, but tons of great people. So I'd love to get you connected with some of them. So that'd be great.
Awesome.
So
Thanks.
yeah, is it Blaz? BLAZ?
It's Blazho.
Blush. Okay,
Yes. So,
Blush.
and for my a little bit different name than the majority here is because I'm from
Mhm.
Slovenia. I was born and raised in Slovenia. And then by certain events, I came to the US and I actually went to the US military academy at West Point and I graduated there as well. So I was in the military. Then I left the military and I was in operations for about 6, 7 years in different positions from team lead to COO. And then one thing led to another, and I got bored and tired of corporate and corporations. So now I am a fractional operations leader, and pretty much I work with business owners, so solopreneurs and anybody up to around 30 people that they work with. And I always ask them two questions pretty much. Why did you go into business? And when was the last time you took a vacation?
Mm.
And specifically the second one, if you US-based people usually don't take vacations, so that takes you a little bit back. And what I do is I work with business owners and I build systems with them and teams that can work independently and remotely. I know I can save you up to 10 hours per week pretty easily. And if necessary, also go and lead your team, take accountability of your team, their performance and execution. And in the end, I can always be your strategic partner for your success and in business and everything that goes with operations, pretty much.
I love
And yeah,
that.
that's it.
A lot of great leaders here. So on February 7th, 2007, I survived a suicide bombing in Barwana, Iraq, while I was stationed over there and doing different things. And so I have a high appreciation for military and veterans and active duty and those who have served. So thank you for serving my country and that I live in, because I'm sure it's not always easy to be part of the military of another country. So thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And part of my story is I love teaching entrepreneurs how to be prepared for the day that they get ambushed. And so it took me a long time to figure out that hook, Tim. So when we were like, hey, what's that hook? And so I started out with that because in the military, one thing that we're really good at is making sure that we prepare our Marines, our soldiers, our sailors, and airmen, whoever, to be prepared for the day that they get an ambush, because we never know what's going to happen. It could be someone that gets killed. It could be someone, employee quitting. It could be a client quitting. It could be a family member getting sick. It can be all sorts of things that throws us off tracks in our business. We can go from making $50,000 to $100,000 months down to $5,000 to $10,000 a month, or even $1,000 a month really quick. But it's how you handle it, and are you prepared for that day that you get ambushed? And so Business Leaders Network, we are really focusing on mission to build that community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders, those that understand 5 key traits of emotional intelligence, of self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, but also knowing how to serve each other and making that a high point of what their business is. Because in the military, one piece of many, but one piece about being prepared for the day you get ambushed is by building that community that has your back during the good and the bad times. And referral generation is a big piece of that, because so many times people take their foot off the gas pedal whenever they're doing well and when they're busy, but they don't work hard when things are moving, when things are busy. And then when things start slowing down is when they start panicking, be like, shoot, I got no one to rely on. Who can I call? And that's what I'm trying to focus on and helping to fill that gap. And we do so through education, visibility, and community. And why I started BLN? Well, when I got back from Iraq in 2007, I got out of the military almost 30 days right afterwards. It's probably like 40 days, but right afterwards. And I knew that I wasn't going to go in the corporate world. And so I started my first business, which was a martial arts school out of St. Louis, Missouri. Hired a coach, did really well, sold that business, built a massive fitness business in 4 different cities called Power Fit Boot Camp, had more than 50 locations, 30 instructors working for me. I was doing really well. And in 2015, I went through a massive PTSD. A lot of my demons started coming at me, and I needed a change. So I literally shut down my business after almost a decade overnight. And then we moved across country. So we moved to Northern Virginia, and from St. Louis, which is 58% higher cost of living, down to one income, and have a new baby that came into our lives. And so now my wife is pregnant with baby number 5. And so we're definitely blessed. And after, since 2016 having that, but, in 2016, I started business consulting and helped probably more than 1,000 entrepreneurs start, grow, and scale. I started out in the fitness space, and because that's what I knew best, and, that's what I did really well in. Then it evolved to helping a lot more people in different industries over the time. But one thing that people lacked was they didn't know how to network. They didn't know how to talk to people. They didn't know how to convert. And they didn't know how to even drive traffic or attention to what they were doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to build something for you guys. I'm going to help bring the people to you. So if you guys are going there and you're sitting like a high school prom on the bench and not talking to anyone, well, that's never going to bring you business. You have to learn how to talk to people, and people just get social anxiety on know what to say. They think, hey, but everyone needs my services because I got the greatest thing on the earth. You know what? There's always someone greater than you. And, that's something I had to learn. I had to remove my ego and really learn that I can still learn from other people too, that I don't know it all. Like every single person on here offers some North Star, something that can bring value to each of us. And so I launched BLN unofficially in 2020. I say unofficially because I kind of did it only for my members as a way to be able to do it. It's like, I'm going to create something. But officially, I saw that it took off in 2022 and made its own entity. And then I combined my funnel business inside of there. Then I ended up my consulting business, and now everything is just Business Leaders Network. And we host a lot of in-person events. We do networking, we do workshops, we do summits. We have a virtual platform for connection, community growth, online videos and training and networking calls. And we got a lot going on. And I just love serving and connecting people. I always tell people this: if I can help you get more clients, referrals, or JV partners, then that's a win for me. Everyone's like, but they compete with me. It's like, I don't really care if they compete with me. I'd rather bring you more business than me take the business, because if I'm helping you grow, then who's the hero? Me. And who do you think they're going to think about the next time that we need more business, right? It's going to be me. And so I would encourage anyone that's looking for a community or a network of professionals to check out Business Leaders Network. All right. The next question we're going to go to, Blazho, I'm going to have you go first. Since you were last time, why don't you share one of your best client success stories? Where were they at when they started with you, and what did you help them achieve?
Yeah, so this was a career coach. So he was already doing around 600K per year, and he wanted to grow up to seven figures. He had a team of around 15 people, and pretty much what it was there, the operations was in chaos. He was the key decision maker. He was making every single decision. And we're talking about deciding on his website whether it's going to be dark navy blue or light navy blue, like the website and stuff like that, right? So when I got in, we achieved within 1 year that we got to $1.2 million in revenue, and removed the person from daily operations.
It's amazing.
Uh, yeah, it was it really was.
Those are big numbers,
Yeah,
especially in the online space. That's awesome. Congrats.
yeah, thank you. And what we did was pretty much we focused on him that he only made key decision, like the important decisions, not every decision all the time, but the decisions that actually he needed to take, not the ones that he wanted to make, because that was like the big difference between him, because he only wanted to make decisions that he liked to do, and kind of postponing, the ones that were tough, as in talking with the team and all of that. And I also took over pretty much leading of the overall team. So we reduced the time he needed to take with the team and all of that. And then again, like the last one was we reduced his decision making to a minimum and allowed the team to actually operate independently. And if you were in the military, like mission command, like pretty much, hey, this is our vision. This is what needs to be achieved in the long run, in the end. Now, guys, you are smart. Go and do your job, and we would just be supervising and making sure that our guys had all of the necessary information and the necessary resources to actually do their job. And I focused then the CEO, the owner, who was really good at promoting, networking with people, and having the vision to actually go and start growing up. So yeah, that was pretty much my story.
That's awesome. I love that. Congratulations. Those are big
Thank you.
numbers. Great success story. Claustine, I'm going to go to you next. Share one of your best client success stories. Where were they at when you started with them, and then what did you help them achieve?
I'm going to share one of my clients who in Maryland, and when she came to me, she just was not clear what was she was supposed to do on Earth. She was very, she had a lot of fears and doubts, which she was allowing to be her driver. And I know everybody has a purpose and an amazing calling. And so we really had to kind of peel back the layers and deal with the mindset, because I do a lot of mindset work. And one of the things we revealed was that, she was kind of a person that was compassionate and loved to encourage and support others, but wasn't willing to kind of look inside of herself. So we kind of navigated through her journey. And what came out on the other side was her relationship with her husband went to another level, because, you're dealing with mindset work as well, because they were newlyweds, but they were having a lot of challenges. And it was just one simple switch that helped to take their relationship to another level. But the thing that really excited me was that she discovered she had a love and a passion for movie making, and she started to make movies, and she started a company with that. And she started traveling the world doing it. This person that before she could barely, go to work and then go home and couldn't even imagine doing anything else. So
Hmm.
those are the people that really excite me, the ones that are not sure what their purpose is, or they may have a career, but there's still a part of them that's like, something's not right. Those are ones that I love to work with and really unpack those things and then help them to just explode and go to another amazing level.
That's awesome. I love that. Congratulations. It's a great story.
Thank you.
Marcus, same question for you. Tell us one of your best client success stories. Where were they at when they started with you, and what did you help them achieve?
Well, I mean, one of the most memorable ones for me that kind of changed my mindset and the way I thought about marketing was over COVID. Working with a local yoga studio owner that had multiple yoga studios, COVID swooped in. And it's crazy, I just signed her up. I'm talking like 2 weeks before COVID, right? So it was one of those it was for both of us at the end of the day, because it was like, all right, if you can't help me go online, like I don't have any use for you. And I'm like, I can help you do whatever you need to do. I'll figure it out. I've always been a just figure it out later type person, right? So I had to create that whole online yoga system, the subscription. I mean, it started out as a way to retain her members that were in person, to give that value, like, hey guys, don't leave me, support me, stick in. Had to set up multiple different locations with all the Zoom and all the thing, and had all the techie stuff to figure out. We all went through these kind of things in COVID, trying to figure these technology things out. But we ended up starting a online subscription for like $10, and just, I call it Netflix money. I ended up making a little mini course off of it. The mixture of the Facebook group, the lead generation, and the membership, right? And my theory, and I'm sure we all think alike in this regard, is that if it's cheap enough, you're not going to think about it enough to cancel it if it's valuable, right? So that's where I came up with like the Netflix money theory of like, it's $10. How many people's been paying for a gym membership that they haven't used in a long
That part.
time, right? Every time we go to
Right.
cancel it, we're like, I need to go to the gym though, so I'm not gonna, right?
Right.
So I feel like that with marketing too, is that like a passive situation of, oh, it's $10. I might not show up for the virtual trainings, but it's there when I need it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we ended up building that thing up for hundreds of people, and JR, where we're at is like a lot of military people that have left the area. They come and go because one of her studios is right there next to Quantico. So we're pulling customers back in that would have never,
The big
ever.
yoga studio in Garrisonville.
Yep, yep. She ended up selling it. But we ended up pulling in customers that had moved across the world and was like, oh my God, this is awesome that we get to reconnect, because I live nowhere near there now. You know what I mean? So it was, for me, it wasn't really the money thing. It was more of a like, I was able to be a part of like that situation of like, hey, let's keep revenue flowing and let's automate it. And that's where I really started digging into these automations. So yeah, it was great. It led to a lot of virtual consulting, working with other fitness people around the world, like, and it's definitely shaped the marketing consulting side of my business. So
Cool. I love that. Great work. Timothy, tell us more about one of your best client success stories. Where they when started and what did you help them achieve?
Yeah, there was an organization that brought me in to help them out, and they had like their own little business within their business. I mean, it had all the components, customer service, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and it was a bunch of individuals working extremely hard, but they were all individuals. They weren't really a cohesive team, and they were in the low five-digit revenue, each month. So what I did is I went in and applied my philosophy. What I taught them was the top three people skills: communication, emotional intelligence, and leader skills. And then what I did is prior to that, I got to know everybody. I went in, got to know everybody, had, like we're doing right now, tell me about yourself kind of thing. So I got to know everybody. And then through leadership, through demonstration, they kind of started to get it. They had their own little SOPs, and then they started communicating with each other, and the efficiencies came. And there was one real aha moment that we had that kind of made the team really take off. And I would go around every morning and do what I call a walkthrough. There was 48 to 53 of these team members. So I walked in, and this girl had her head down on her desk, and she was obviously sleeping. So I came up to her and I asked her, I said, hey, are you all right? And she woke, she put her head up, and like when your child is sleeping or you wake up, you have the pillow thing on your head, and she had bed head and all this other stuff. And I said, I knew she was distraught. So I took her into the office where we could talk, have a conversation privately. And she had been up all night with her significant other, was in the hospital and had a real problem. So the point is, I said, hey, you need to be there. We're going to take care of things. But from the team perspective, they saw me go to her, bring her into my office, and then she left. So they automatically thought, wow, we fired him. He fired her for sleeping. So what I did is I was walking around, I could sense and feel through my emotional intelligence, I could feel like the eyes were on me and people were like, you know, disgusted with what they thought I did. And I got that aha moment. I said, wait a minute. I said, here's what transpired. I taught them what transpired. I didn't go into any real detail, but when I explained that to them, you could almost feel the air dissipate out of a balloon.
Mm.
And they really got it. And then we started running high five figures every month. And all it was really going in there and giving them the structure. There was really no vision. And the mission was the contract. This is what we do, and here's how we do it. But once you bring everybody together and they're on the same page, you treat them like they make a difference, and they will. And it was interesting. I was in a meeting with the executive that owned the organization, and he slipped a piece of paper over to me. And he said, "Hey, we want you to do that for the rest of our organization." Bottom line is, it was all about putting a little structure around it, treating people like they make a difference, and they will. So that was my big moment that I saw people actually get it. They had the aha moment, and then they just took off from there. And I just basically got out of the way because I teach leaders, you coach people, manage processes, and know when and how to get out of the way. And a lot of leaders don't know how to get out of the way. So that was my story.
Beautiful story. I love it. All you guys have amazing stories. Seems like you're doing some cool stuff. I love that. For me, I'm going to take a different route because it's easy to talk about money and what you help people achieve. I mean, for me, I've helped people make $100,000 in one day by leveraging events, and 13,000 and 20,000. I mean, everything. But to me, it's all about the connections and relationships with the people that you have that can turn to business over and over again. And one recent story, I had this person that joined our community. His name's Christoph. He lives out of Las Vegas, and he has a speaking program. He hosts different events. And then through our community, Business Leaders Network, he got 3 paying speakers for his events, like sponsors for his events and speakers and things like that. Well, all that, I don't know the exact amount, but that probably equated to more than $10,000 of new revenue for there. And so that was just by making new connections, building relationships, and just having access to the network of people that said, hey, you know what, I want to be there. I got another member, he hosted an event in St. Louis recently, and back in February, and I actually went there to be part of it. He had another speaker that flew in from Arizona to go be part of it, and then another speaker that came in from Omaha to be part of it. And all of us were even someone in North Carolina that came and be part of it, but all of us are part of the community together, and we wanted to just be there to support him and his business. And he closed close to $8,000 to $10,000 in new business from there. But the most important piece was the level of support that he got from people in the community saying, hey, you know what? Yes, I will invest my time, my money, and energy to show up to support you and to help you get what you need. And so that's the power of community and the people in your network. And that's why I love our Business Leaders Network. And so anyone that jumps in, they feel the servant leadership of really just trying to help each other grow. I mean, it's no longer of you trying to find people yourself. You have people that are actually in war zone with you, hunting for people to help you find the people that you need to bring in your business. And so if you're especially B2B, great place for you and stuff like that. So no brainer for a lot of you guys. All right, I'm going to go to Marcus first for this last one. Why don't you share more about the type of people you want to connect with and where's the best place you want them to reach you? You're muted.
There we go. I mean, I like working with people that are trying to grow their lead generation and get their systems in order. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's something about when it all comes together and the pieces are connected and it's flowing right that just feels real good, and it feels good to be able to step away and not have to play tag with clients all day, back and forth, those emails and text and oh man, maybe I'll get a hold of them eventually, maybe I won't, right? With my wedding business, for example, you submit the event choir and you fill out the form and you're redirected to a booking calendar to book for the call, and the conversion rate went through the roof like that. And I feel like there's a lot of people that don't have those systems in place, especially your blue collar guys that run service businesses. We all know those guys that's been a painter for 20 years and barely has a website, right? I feel like people are starting to realize the importance of digital presence and branding and systems, and I'm here for it. So, and I like the challenge. I like the ones that are like, man, my stuff's a mess. Can you help me fix it?
Yeah.
I'm like, I sure can. It's SBCA. Let's go. Let's do it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, you can find me. GoLocalProductions.com is a good place. That's the for-profit channel, but you can also see all the brands over there if you want to dig in and see what I've accomplished, and what I'm doing. But yeah,
Cool. What was that website again?
GoLocalProductions.com.
Cool. Love that. If you don't mind, put that on change your name on your screen. Kind of like how I did for your name and then Go Productions
Yeah, yeah.
so people can see that. That'd be awesome. And for all of you guys, if you
Yep.
haven't done that, just click on the three dots in the upper right and then choose rename. And then you can have your name there and then put the line and then put your website so people know exactly where to find you. All right, Timothy, who do you like to serve or work with? And then how can people get in touch with you?
Actually, there's three distinct groups that I like to help. It's Generation X, Y, and Z. Those that want to or are interested in getting in to lead people. The second group would be those who select and hire first-time leaders. And then the third group is what I call the forgotten group. That's the solopreneur who just hired his or her first employee or employees. And guess what? I'm now a leader. I need to be expected to be a leader because typically their next question is, now what? So those are the three groups that I like to help. You typically in a small business arena, because what happens 60% of the time, like I mentioned earlier, first time leaders fail. And what I help them do is assess and accelerate the transformation and also the transition for those people into what I call the most important responsibility in the world, and that's leading people. So in a nutshell, those are the people that I like to help. I find that they're the ones that are most needing of my services, and for those reasons that I stated.
Love that. Very cool. All right, Claustine, who do you like to work with? Faith driven entrepreneurs, and what's the best place for them to get in touch with you?
Yes, faith-driven entrepreneurs, but I'm specifically looking for women that uh, they're in corporate and they have been questioning what their next step should be or where they should be, just to kind of help them peel back what their potential and intention should be or purpose should be. So those are the ones that I'm really looking for right now. And they could go to coffeewithclastine.com to schedule a consult with me so we can have a chat.
I love that. Very cool. And Blaj.
So any business owners, they can be a solopreneur or already have a developed team in departments or just contractors. And those who either want to grow their business, but are pretty much stuck in a day-to-day operations doing and hustling, what we like to call every single day, and want to kind of get out of it. And they are just tired and overworked and close to pretty much burnout. And people who want to close their laptops by 5 p.m. and I can help them do that.
I love that. That's awesome. And for me, I love working with speakers, coaches, authors, and service-based professionals, those that serve B2B. And those are the people that I want inside of our Business Leaders Network community. And so if they're out there, they consider themselves servant leaders. Who we are not looking for are those that are focused just on transactional type relationships, and they're out there hunting just for a ton of leads and more referrals and more this and more that and this and give me this and give me that. Those are people that we don't want. But we do want those people that are saying, hey, you know what can I give back to you guys? What can I do to support you? Who can I connect you with? If that's how you lead your conversations, I want you in our community, because those are the people that do the best with us, because now the transaction is naturally going to happen because it's focusing on each other and not just yourself. And so I'm looking for those type of individuals. I'm looking for individuals who are consider themselves emotionally intelligent, meaning they Tim, were you military too or no?
No, I wasn't. My daughter graduated from West Point. I was going to ask Blas when he graduated from West Point,
Okay.
but my dad was, and my uncle.
Okay. Well, I wanted to use this terminology that in the military, civilians look at it as a negative thing, but in the military, we say, they're salty, means they got experience. And in the military, that's a compliment, meaning
Yes.
man, they're salty. I didn't realize that was a negative thing in the civilian world.
Yeah.
As civilians, if you say they're
Yeah.
salty, it's negative. But in the military, it's
Cranky,
actually a
yeah.
very positive thing, because when you look at someone that's salty, you're looking at your gunnies or your high-ranking officers, and it's like in the middle of combat when chaos is coming your way, they're still able to keep their composure, lead and guide other troops to be where they need to be and execute the mission accordingly. Those are the people that I want. I want those people that even when life is like beating them left, right, hook, right in the gut and in the face and busting their nose, they are still able to keep putting one foot in front of the other and still completing the mission. Mission-focused individuals who are able to keep the saltiness inside of their life, that's what I want. Not in a positive way, not a negative way. So I had to make sure I was clear on that. So, but yeah, so if you know anyone that would fit that billet, I would love that connection. And the best way to do it is to go to blncommunity.com, click on join now, and then you'll see a bunch of testimonials and everywhere else. But it's blncommunity.com. Join our community. We'd love to have you guys. All right, everyone, that concludes the show for today. And I just want to thank everyone for showing up, taking time to be with us. And for everyone listening out there, if you heard something that you're like, man, I really connected or resonated with that individual, then I want to encourage you guys, schedule a time, go to their websites, go to the links wherever they were, follow us on social media, and start that conversation and see where it leads. And because you never know where that one connection, that one lead, that one conversation is going to take you. So make sure you guys reach out. Until next time, everyone, Semper Fi.